In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating how to set up Game 4 from PrepTest 62. 62, Game 4. So we have 6 players here, M, R, S, T, U, and W. Right, and we're ordering them, and there are no ties. Right, we either have S immediately before T or S immediately before U. That's rule 1. U has to be earlier than both R and W. That's rule 2. And rule 3 states that T or W is immediately before M. Right, so those are our 3 rules. And I'll go into the questions now. So question 19. Let's see what we've got here. So we either have to have S right before T or right before U. So we have ST, ST, SU, SR for D, so D is out, and ST for E. Next rule, U has to be before both R and W. So R is first in A, that's not going to work. U before R and W, U before WR, U before RW, and E, U is last, which isn't allowed. Right, so between B and C, likely one of those two is going to break rule 3, unless we missed one of the other ones, but probably this is what we're dealing with. So I would just scan for M and see if T or W is in front of it for B and C. So B, we have WM, and C, we have RM, which is not allowed. So B is the correct answer. All right, question 20. If T testifies first. All right. So with T first, that means that ST is not an option. So we must have SU somewhere. So SU, and then R and W are going to be somewhere after that. And then M has 2 options. So we either have TM, SU, and then RWWR, right? Or we have TSU, and then WMR or RWM. So those would be our 4 options for question 20. So which one of the following could be true? Could R be second? So that's not an option, right? T is first, which means we have SU, so R definitely cannot be second. Could W be third? So that's not an option either. S fourth, also not an option. U fifth, also not an option. M sixth, so that is an option right there. E is the correct answer. Moving on, question 21. If S is fifth, right, then U must testify when? All right, so we have a couple of options with S, right? Either ST or SU. So let's start from there. If we have ST, then we also have to have WM, right? But we have, let's see, so we could have URWM. That's fine. We have U before R, also before W and ST. So that's an acceptable choice. So if S testifies fifth, it looks as if U has to be first, right? So we're not going to have, we might have a different, we might have a different configuration, right? So we could have R after W and M, something like that. But it looks like no matter what, U is going to have to be first because it is first here, right? So that's sort of confusing, but really when we have a very specific player that we're being asked, what must be true about that player's position. given the position of another player, we can actually just find one acceptable solution for that player. Once we found one acceptable solution, we know that that particular part of that acceptable solution is going to be true no matter what, right? Other things about this might change. There might be other possibilities, but U testifies first, so yeah, we're not going to see another version of that. So I'm not sure how well I actually explained that, but in this particular case and cases like it, such as, for example, if it said, if S testifies fifth, then which player must testify first? Well, it's going to be U. So the fact that they're asking us the question about what must be true about that specific spot tells me that there is something that must be true about that spot. It tells me that there is something that must be true about this player, meaning that this player's position is actually set by the condition that S is fifth. Okay, so it's a little bit more of sort of like gaming the test. Usually when we just have a question-specific condition and they asked us what generally must be true, then we have to make sure that that thing actually is true in every circumstance. But if they call out a specific player or position and we find a single solution based on just starting with the idea that S is fifth, then we can figure that out. I mean, I can certainly show why this one wouldn't work. So U has to be before R and W, right? So there's no way that U can actually be sixth. So T must be sixth, and once we know that T is sixth, then we know that we have WM, and so we're stuck in this situation where U must be first. So we're not going to be able to find another scenario. The only thing that we can change about this one is the positions of R, W, and M. All right, hopefully that makes sense. All right, moving on to question 22. Which one of the following pairs of witnesses cannot testify third and fourth, respectively? Okay, so A, M and T being third and fourth. So let's go ahead and just brute force this one. Okay, so if we have MT here, that means that we have SU for sure, and W has to be before M because T cannot be before M. So we have WM, okay, and then we have to have SU and RW. That's not going to work, is it? Right? So third and fourth, MT, that's not possible. And we're looking for something that's impossible, right? Something that cannot be true. So A is the correct answer there. 23. Which one of the following pairs of witnesses cannot testify first and second, respectively? So SU, I'm already seeing that there's likely no problem with that, right? SU, U is before R and W. That's not going to be a problem. SU already gives us, we're already following one of the conditions. So SU, let's go R, W, M, T. That's possible. All right, so A is possible. We can eliminate it. B, T, and then M. We actually have an example of that right there. T is first, M is second, so we can eliminate B. C, T, S. Now that one sounds sort of tricky potentially, but let's try it. T, S, then U, right? Then R, W, M. So we've got U before R and W. We've got W right before M, and we have S right before U. So we've covered all our bases. And then the final one, getting to the edge of my paper here. D. So I mean, if it doesn't work, then we know our answer. So could we have U and then T? All right. So based on that, looks like this one is the one that's going to fail and therefore be the correct answer. So if U is first, then I can't have SU. but if U is immediately before T, then I can't have ST either, and I have to have one of them. So this will not work. I can't make an acceptable solution where U is first and T is second. Therefore, D is the correct answer. And yeah, that gives us all our answers here. So B, E, A, and D are the correct answers for game 4 from Prep Test 62.